Okay. All right. Welcome back to another installment of the Mythos Busters Miskatonic AV Club
Hey, got
with
it
your
right.
hosts, yeah, Scott and Sean.
Hi.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
I'm doing well, Sean. How about you?
Oh, just sitting here being a loser.
Yeah, that's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. You're great, Sean. This is the Rogue Path to Carcosa. If you couldn't tell by the show title or the cards on the screen, depending on the medium in which you are digesting this cast. Safina Russo is our
Tifina
investigator.
Russo.
Russo. She is the painter. She's also an artist, which you'd probably have to be a painter, unless you're painting houses. Willpower, 2 intellect, 2 combat, 4 agility. Forced, when you would draw your opening hand, draw 13 cards instead. Choose up to 5 events to place beneath this card and keep 8 cards as your opening hand. Discard the rest. You cannot mulligan. Choose an action. Choose an event beneath this card and draw it. Does not provoke attacks of opportunity. And her Elder Sign effect, +3. You may choose an event beneath this card and draw it. 5 health, 9 sanity. Her deck building is a little bit different. She's got a deck size of 33. Rogue cards 0 to 5, neutral 0 to 5, mystic 0 to 2, and she gets 3 copies of her Sig and 1 of her weakness and a random weakness.
And I feel like we have to talk about her SIGs first.
I think we do. You want to read Painted Worlds and
Sure.
Yeah. Read all 3 though, like after each other, because in case they're different.
I'll read one as an exact copy of the other 2. How about that?
Oh, nailed it.
The Painted World is her signature event. It is null costed. It has willpower, agility, and wild icons. Spell traded. Safina Russo deck only. Cannot be placed beneath Safina Russo. Play The Painted World as an exact copy of a non-exceptional event that is beneath Safina Russo. Remove The Painted World from the game instead of discarding it. And then we have the Stars of Hyades? Both Hyades.
Yeah, Hyades.
Which is her signature Treachery. It is a weakness and a curse rated. Revelation. Randomly choose an event beneath Safina Russo and remove it from the game. If you cannot, take 1 damage and 1 horror. If your deck has 5 or more cards in it, shuffle Stars of Hyades back into your deck instead of discarding it. Okay.
So I'm just gonna start off with she's fun to play.
Yes.
Like I feel like the skill cap on Safina is very high.
Yes.
But it's achievable, and you actually get rewarded for hitting that skill cap.
Yeah, I think there is, much like painting, there is a fair amount of finesse and and I guess craft that goes into both building and playing Safina.
Yeah,
in an efficient way.
The building especially too, because you want to hit those 5 events, or you're discarding cards at the beginning of the game. That being said, you're starting with a hand of 8 cards, which feels fantastic.
It sure does. And I mean, really, the cards underneath her are kind of in your hand, sorta, at the cost of an action. So that's cool.
Or if you have a Painted World, you have 1 card that is actually 5 different cards.
Exactly. So I'm going to say a big part of Safina is the fact that she can take Mystic cards. She runs pretty purple for me. I don't know if maybe that's just my familiarity with that card set, but she tends to run pretty purple.
No, I think you're right. I mean, Mystic has a lot of awesome events and assets, especially, what's the, go look at the top 3 cards, grab a spell, ally.
Arcane Initiate.
Yep. Being able to find Painted Worlds that way, like what an amazing asset. Wards of Protection are amazing that you can paint them. Drawn to the Flame is a great tool for her. Like she's green on the front, but like purple everywhere else.
And I still play Delve Too Deep in Safina, even though Painted World does not work on it. Well, it works on it. It just is bad.
Yeah. The grief version.
Yeah, right. But even if you just pop a delve underneath her,
Mm-hmm.
it just sits there waiting for your opportune moment to play it. So,
Yep.
just very good little.
Or waiting for the nice stars to come by and get
Right,
rid of
or
it.
it's a shield for your other maybe more salient cards.
Mm-hmm. This weakness is brutal.
Yeah.
Especially if you have drawn a couple cards from underneath Safina and you're running low on cards under um, taking a damage and a horror. I mean, like the 5 health is, I find, I don't want to say troublesome, but every time I
You gotta watch
pick up,
it.
yeah, every time I pick up Safina, I'm like, okay, I gotta remember, like when I'm building, what am I gonna do about her health? Um, and sometimes that's just a couple copies of painkillers and maybe some allies that I know I can soak with, but
It's
the
still
5
something
health
you
is
got to
low.
address.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, what do you think your kind of mix looks like as far as assets to skills to events?
Um, I try to run because I remember we were talking on the Discord about the numbers as far as how many events and such you should have. And I think I try to place it around uh, 18, 16 to 18 events. I prefer more around 18, not including Painted World, of course. Uh, and then at that point, you have a pretty good shot of getting at least 5 events in your opening hand, sometimes even 6, maybe 7, so you have a choice of which ones to put under. Um, and then from that point, uh, I might have 3 or 4 skills, maybe 6 if I'm taking skills like double or nothing, or those skills that do tricky things as opposed to just being pips. So
Yeah, because
low assets.
for what she wants to do, she's got good stats. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she can kind of play around in the early game if she gets unfortunate and draws an enemy because she's got that high agility. Can
Mm-hmm.
lean into spells pretty hard. I mean, do you ever like? I think maybe once or twice I've popped a Derringer in her starting deck just so she has something.
Yeah, I have actually thrown one, or I think there was one build that I actually kept 2 Derringers in. Um, like you said, just to have something to fight, even just to do that 1 damage to get her to a normal. Uh, yeah, or like I mean, otherwise you rely on the evading and you rely on your partners. But as far as if you're going to be playing solo, I think in there. So just to save your shriveling charges for the big guys.
They tend to
So
be pretty precious. Yeah.
yeah. Pro tip: bring shriveling.
Yeah. God, what else is there to say about Safina? Who do you think is we talked about the Arcane Initiate. I've often
Mhm.
actually found that Leo runs pretty well in
Yes.
her. I mean, Leo runs well in everyone, but again, if you're kind of relying on being a little bit more defensive, a little bit more tricksy, that extra
Mhm.
action is super valuable.
Yeah, and it's depending on how you run your economy in Safina. Like you'll have once you start getting upgraded, you can do. Goodness, I can't remember card names for the life of me. Pay 3 resources, get 10
Hot streak.
rogue. Hot streak. Like if you were able to get hot streak underneath Safina and then paint it, like yeah, that first turn Leo doesn't hurt at all. Um, and even or emergency quiche, right? Like that, getting Leo out early because she is such. It says she's a painter, but she's a dancer. Like, and it's just the dance of the cards in your hand with every board. Like that extra action really allows her to flow through the game. So yeah, Leo is a really good pick.
Yeah, I took a standalone Safina to my second run through of Labyrinths of Lunacy, and I just wanted to
Mhm.
try to make her as lean and mean and no nonsense as possible. So, you know, block picks and
Mhm.
spells and level 2 emergency quiches and
Mm-hmm.
uncage the soul. And I had an uncage the soul and a level 2 quiche underneath her. And
Oh,
oh god, I did not want for resources.
yeah.
Streetwise did work because I just always had money to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
The good stuff.
Yeah.
So any I don't know. I think if there's any like wombo combo investigator in the game, it's Safina, because not only does she have the ability to recur those events,
Mm-hmm.
she's just got that huge hand of cards.
Yeah. Yeah, she's gonna find her combo pieces way easier, I think. And then she can also make third, fourth, fifth copies of those combo pieces, whatever they may be.
Yep.
Um, yeah. She's strong and she's super fun. And like I said, high skill ceiling, but getting up there actually rewards you. Whereas I think like Lola, I think in comparison, and we'll talk about her later, but her skill ceiling is high, but I don't think you get rewarded once you get up there because I think she caps out as far as power level. I think Safina, once you get really good at her, she performs really well
Mm-hmm.
as well.
And she's just so
So
super flexible. I think
yeah,
her maybe bending toward investigating and clue gathering is probably a little bit stronger for her, but she can still handle enemies fine. So I really like her as a kind of a flex investigator.
yeah, she's a really good all rounder.
Yeah. Very pro Safina.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be clear on the pronunciation here.
Yeah,
The
no,
emphasis
that's
goes on the second syllable.
not Sephina. Who would say that?
Some heathens.
People who have babies, probably.
I'll accept Seth though. Seth is a fun.
Yeah, that's true. Better than yeah. I was thinking Sif, but that wouldn't work.
Wait, isn't that like the
Uh,
Viking queen, Thor's companion, Lady Sif? Sif? I don't know. Anyway,
not up on my Viking lore currently, but
let's sneak away from this discussion.
oh god. So stealth is a 2-cost asset for rogue. Has a agility pip. It's talent traded. And it's action. Exhaust stealth. Evade. The chosen enemy gets -2 evade for this evasion attempt. If you successfully evade the enemy, disengage with it, but do not exhaust it. At the end of your turn, that enemy cannot, until the end of your turn, that enemy cannot engage you. So it's uh, an okay evade.
So it's yeah. So it's basically like, hey, you get a free man. Well, no, it's not even a free manual dexterity. You just get a free unexpected courage to this evade test,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't get the exhaust. So the first part's really cool because that's going to help you hit the test higher. When is it okay for the evade test not to exhaust the enemy? When are you fine with that?
I think solo on a non-hunter enemy. Like if it's just you want to leave the location without an enemy attached to you, obviously you can't deal with it, but you're never coming back. Then you can use stealth. Um, not a huge fan,
Yeah,
honestly.
I wanted to like it more than I do, but I find that any investigator that I want to put this in, they just have so many better options for hitting evade tests and making evade consistent.
Hmm. I feel like if this card was more so like uh as a fast like a fast action or
Yeah,
lightning bolt or whatever, exhaust this, you get +2 to your next test. Like that, I think would be for the same cost, um, would be pretty good.
I like
Like if
what a
you're
couple XP. We could get level 2
no, no,
stealth that does something like that.
yeah, we could. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd be okay with that at level 0 with 2. It'd be like uh, what the one we just had, or field work.
Mm.
It's like a field work version of stealth, but yeah, this current version, hmm,
It
I
hasn't seen much play for me. I had it in one. I had it in a Lola build because at 3 agility, that's not doing a whole lot,
yeah,
and it just never worked like I wanted it to.
yeah. You know what? I think this card's home is probably in true solo playing.
Sure. Hey, it's Rogue. That surprises me.
Yeah. Well, we haven't really found the key to this card.
Oh, I wondered what was
But
brewing in that silence.
but is there another card we could talk about?
Hmm.
Well, we don't have the key to this one.
Let me work on this lock for you. With lockpicks, it's a level 1 rogue asset, 3 cost, has the intellect icon, item, tool, and illicit traded. It uses 3 supplies. If it has no supplies, discard it. An action, exhaust lockpicks. Investigate. Add your agility value to your skill value for this investigation. And if you do not succeed by at least 2, remove 1 supply from lockpicks. Bust a pick. And it takes up a hand slot. So, yes.
This is pretty much amazing in almost everyone that can.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think of who can take it, and it's not good. Because I'm having trouble thinking if there's anyone like that.
No, there's not. Spoiler alert, there's not. Because,
Yeah.
like, Mystics are good because they sub in their best stat or another stat. Imagine how good Mystics would be if they added their best stat to their other stat. It's just ridiculous.
This made Solo Wendy way better. Like, when this is the first deck I played with lockpicks was a Solo Wendy deck, because I basically, as soon as it came out, I was like, I need to make a Solo Wendy deck so I can use lockpicks. And investigating at 7 is really good, and usually you pass by 2.
But even if you don't, like, compare this to, I think what it swaps out for most investigators is kind of like your old flashlight slot. Comparing it to something like Flashlight, it uses 3 supplies anyway that are gone whether or not you succeed or fail. So at least with lockpicks, you get the ability to keep it around if you continue to do well. The only downside is that you can only do this once per turn because it's exhausting to get used.
Yes.
So, I don't know, maybe you... In Leo, you could teamwork this over to Ashcan, who can ready it a second time?
That seems like way too much work.
That's a non-bow. But yeah, I don't know. This is a seminal card for rogues. This is so good.
No, I think it doesn't turn rogue into a class that I think could be like the main clover.
No.
It's just a really strong add-on, so you can more so help the clover, right? Like if you're playing in a multiplayer game, you can go grab one clue here, one there, or just, pass and investigate tests here or there. But because the exhausting, it doesn't make you able to be the seeker, if you will, of the group.
Right.
So I would just caution people, if anyone is thinking of going that way, it's probably not the greatest way. But
unless you double fist lockpicks, in that case you can probably do it.
Then you're doing okay, yeah.
But I would say that that's quite a daring maneuver, wouldn't you, Scott?
Oh, gee,
we're just not even trying anymore.
Oh God, that was brewing in my head as you said it. So daring maneuver is a 0-cost event with a wild pip. It's a gambit. Fast. Play when you would succeed at a skill test. You get +2 skill value to this test. McGlenn, are you trying to get us both killed? Not this time, pal. Not this time. I should voice act in children's movies.
So, you've been a recent proponent of the win by 2 build.
I would say proponent, but I was toying with it, yes. I basically went on Arkham DV, searched up +2, and hit add 2 copies to anything that fit the build. This, like, obviously, the only time you would use this is in that type of build. Unless, well, can someone take shotgun and this?
Zoe. Always Zoe.
Oh, geez, Zoe. Slot gun? No. Slot gun? Slight? Slight gun?
Lightning gun?
Yeah, but like with shotgun.
Oh.
Slot
Oh,
gun?
yeah, it's definitely got to be slot gun.
Okay, slot gun. So yeah, there's that like tiny little niche used for this card.
But then that's demanding 4 of her splash, which, you know, is fine because that's a
Well,
cool combo, but...
yeah, whatever. And the fifth one's no stone unturned to go find them. Uh, so,
No,
yeah,
no, your fifth splash in Zoe should always be Storm of Spirits.
yeah, fair enough. So daring maneuver. In that build, the +2 build, I did include this, and I found I did actually use them a couple times because the idea is once you get the upgraded opportunists, and it's just the succeed by 2. Once you get the 2 opportunists in your hand, you're basically just committing them to every single test, and you're doing oh, what's the if you succeed by 2 or more, you get to take an action skill.
Quick
I'm
thinking.
bad at card names. Quick thinking. God, I should read card names.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you get these opportunities. You're using quick thinking. Daring maneuver is basically oh no, I'm going to lose both my opportunists. You play daring maneuver, you get to keep them because the key to that deck is playing the 2 opportunists over and over and over and over and over and over again. And daring maneuver is just like a safety net for you.
Yeah.
Um,
Stops everything but the tentacle from taking it apart, right?
yeah. So if you're playing that deck, I would actually suggest running 2 of these. It, yeah, it is also a wild pip. So I mean, if you get near the end of the game and you just need it for a wild pip, that's an option. But
That's something.
it's a very niche card for a niche deck.
Yeah,
Have you played
so,
the +2 at all?
no, I haven't played a straight +2 build since like the core set days, and I decided that it was just garbage. Um,
Yes.
but I have put like a 1 copy of this in a deck that just has a bunch of those if you succeed by at least 2 type effects. And as just kind of a one of to save the moment when you really needed that thing to trigger, it's not bad. I don't
Yeah.
think it goes everywhere, but you know, if you want to save your last lockpick supply or you need that extra action, it's a nice little safety net. Ultimately,
Mm-hmm.
there are more interesting ways to get there, so I don't know that this one is interests me in anything but a dedicated win anymore.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to read the best card?
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna make a joke.
let me pull it out of my sleeve here.
Oh God, it's the best card in the game. Go ahead.
All right, so Sleight of Hand is a level 0 rogue event, 1 cost, intellect and agility icons, trick traded, fast, play only during your turn. Put an item asset into play from your hand. At the end of your turn, if that asset is still in play, return it to you. So hey, remember when like every weapon that you have in your deck has the fast keyword?
Yeah.
And then you also save and then it's also kind of like extra ammunition because you get to save on ammo that you didn't actually have to spend.
And you play like a 5 or 6 cost weapon for 1, and then just like empty it,
Yep.
and then you get it back.
I mean, hell, I played Skids and Daisy through Carcosa, and Skids eventually ended up taking typewriters, and then this just so cool. But you know, even early in the campaign, like throwing down a 1 cost 45, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you're playing rogue, you might have Leo in there, and so if you do sleight of hand of 45, you can empty it, right? And if you are fighting a big bad, or you're going to have to use a lot of that ammunition, um,
Or your Skids, and you're only swinging at 4 without some help.
yeah, um, yeah, this is amazing. I love this card. Like
Yep.
it offers such uh, interesting opportunities. Like we've been hinting at it, but Lightning Gun, like that deck is just bonkers and super fun to play.
And the fact that Zoe at this point remains. Oh no, we have Leo now. Never mind. So anyway, up till the release of Leo, Zoe remained the only person who could take big weapons, or at least the big guardian weapons, with this card.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, it's just such a good card. So efficient. Like,
Yeah.
save resources, you save actions, and you save ammo, all in one little card. Mm.
Yeah. And now that Lupara as well.
Mm.
Like Lupara is a great combo with this card because then you get the Lupara's only got 2 shots, but it's going to give you +2 attack and +2 damage when you slide it out, which yeah is fantastic. Then you take it back in your hand and then you play it again, and
With its ability, and yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
So
I do kind of like how Rogue feels roguey. Like, it's very capable of dealing out damage, but it feels very different to how Guardian or Mystic does it. So, and Sleight of Hand contributes to that feel a lot.
yeah, I feel like Rogue, the way they do damage is like an Assassin's Creed style, like sneaky weapons, stuff like that, where Guardian is very much the Rambo walk through the middle of the city with a giant gun, just, emptying shells and stuff. So,
Yep. Sleight of Hand.
um,
Play it.
some people have been mentioned, or I've talked on Discord about this, and like some people will also use this for like flashlights, even.
That was actually what I was just about to ask. Have you ever used this on a non-weapon asset or a non-weapon item?
I have not myself, but it's because usually the only time I'm playing sleight of hand is lightning gun.
Sure.
And I'm usually running flashlights because you guys can do that. I'm killing things. But like I can totally see that though. That is it's a level 0 card, so there's a lot of people that can take it. Um, even like Rex could take this, and you burn a flashlight through with Rex one turn. That'd be a good play, I think.
Yep. So yeah, Sleight of Hand, real good. Play it.
Yeah.
It does things.
What do you think of the 4 cards?
Rogue got a good go. I think depending on your investigator, I'm kind of split between Lockpicks and Sleight of Hand as the top card because they're both they're both so good, but they're doing very different things.
One's reliable, one's combo.
Right.
I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Daring Maneuver is definitely better than Stealth, but only just.
Well, oh man, it totally depends though, I think. Daring Maneuver, you have to be a type of deck. Stealth, I think, is okay in solo. I think it's horrible multiplayer. Yeah, I don't know. I think I have to give Lockpicks the winner though. Followed very closely by Sleight of Hand, just because Lockpicks is just so reliable. Yeah.
And it was a slot that needed filling for Rogue, right? They didn't have a specific Rogue, hey, this is how we get clues type card. So yeah.
Right on. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. This Rogue Path of Carcosa. We are moving on to Stay tuned.